What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Sure to like and sub, and let's get into this. I remember when the War of the Rohirrim was first announced, and first it took months for us to remember that it was a movie, not a series. And also, at least for part of the time, we thought, oh, good, maybe they are hyper aware of how bad the word of mouth is because of the Rings of Power, and they're going to release a Western animation based on some anime basically, and that'll bring back people, and then they'll have the Peter Jackson film come back with Andy Serkis, The Hunt for Gollum, and that'll bring people back. And no, we did not get that. Instead, we got more or less a girl boss in an insufferable way, and the disrespect of the story and the ignoring of the actual characters, and all the things that Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens and all that were apt not to do the first time they did this time. And now the actress has come out and she's pulled a bit of a Zegler.
Yeah. Weird.
Doesn't call it age, but she does bring up the Bechdel test, and yes, we'll talk about that. So this is the interviewer, by the way, not the actress. So that is the actress there. What a lovely see you next Tuesday, resting see you next Tuesday face she has. So she had an interview with Total Film and about the theatrical release, of course. No comment, of course, on the fact that 2 weeks after that theatrical release is already out on digital, and it's not going to make its money back. It's losing money. So the interviewer said, obviously, in the original Lord of the Rings film, there is only one scene where two female characters interact. Wise interrupted, does not pass the Bechdel test. And the moment she said that, in my head, I started laughing. I said, well, we all know the Bechdel test is a joke, and bless them for referencing it right here. Alison Bechdel, who of course came up with the Bechdel test, who it's named for, called the original test a joke and has shared multiple times how dismayed she is about films taking shortcuts with strong female characters simply by using that asinine test of like two females talking about something unrelated to a man. As she said here in 2023, it was a joke. I didn't ever intend for it to be the real gauge it has become, and it's hard to keep talking about it over and over, but it's kind of cool. When asked what she thought about the films failing the test, she replied, what's really dismaying rather now is the way so many movies cynically try to take shortcuts and feature strong female characters, but they just have a veneer of strength. They're still not fully developed characters. Correct. And it's no different than when they do gay, trans, all the other characters. They're veneers, and they're not even good veneers. And we can tell. So she continues on, now that we know that the Bechdel test was a joke and they think it's real. She says, it made me really happy. It made me really happy that we're finally telling the stories of especially the Shield Maidens, because they sort of float around in the trilogy, but they are so important to the lore. They're as important as Tolkien described them, which is why you were unnamed in the books. And if it also made me excited because hopefully there'll be a generation of young girls who get to see this film, spoiler, there won't be, and feel like they are seen and heard and empowered by it. No, they have Eowyn in the movies. They'll just watch that one. See here, as for the Shield Maidens, yeah, like the unnamed daughter, if it was important, Tolkien would have mentioned it. In The Return of the King's, Eowyn refers to herself as one during a heated conversation with Aragorn, saying, but I am not one of the Arrow, a shield maiden, and not a dry nurse. I have waited on faltering feet. So yeah, they're there. And if they're important like Eowyn, guess what? They get referenced and talked about. Later in the story, of course, she says, I will be a shield maiden no longer, nor vie with the great riders, nor take joy only in the songs of slaying. I will be a healer and love all things that grow and are not barren. Isn't that nice? Anyway, as for the film, it's shit. As look, already 2 weeks out, already for sale. Numbers are bad. I have here from Box Mojo, $18.2 million. And thank you, Odin, here, who said that it has a budget of $31 million. So you take $30 million and then you add in marketing, which sometimes is whatever it was to make the film. Sometimes it's half of what it made. I've heard all of those theories. He goes on to say that's a 2.5 multiplier. Yeah. Either way, they are losing somewhere in the $40 to $50 million range when everything is said and done. He goes on to clarify, not the biggest flop in the world, but they were expecting what they were expecting from this movie is not to have to put it 2 weeks later onto digital release. And yeah, dear God, people, if you ever have a movie out, make sure that you don't shit on the previous incarnations or iterations of the movies or shows or comics while promoting your new one. It never works. Never works. Not worked once. And all it does is piss off any of those fans that might have come over to check out your new thing. But once you let slip that you didn't like the original, well, then they bounce out. Anyway, speaking of bouncing out, I'm bouncing out. So make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you.
Well, bye.